This video covers the normal operation of the single anchor leg mooring hydraulic unit. The procedure is typically referred to as operating the SALM subsea 30-inch valves that use the Ruelco hydraulic power unit made up from two skids, the main control and accumulator. There are two 30-inch ball valves connected to a single anchor leg mooring referred to as the SALM. The 30-inch valves are associated with the liquid cargo being either loaded or offloaded with a tanker moored at the SPM. Routine inspection and operation is imperative to ensure the SALM unit's capability to operate the subsea valves so that adequate isolation can be achieved when needed. Since the SALM is located at the sea floor, certified divers are required to verify valve status when operated from the pumping platform. A model of the SALM displays that there are two ball valves located on opposite ends of the unit. The ball valves are installed with valve indicators to assist divers with identifying the position of the valves. Hydraulic supply and return lines are connected between the SALM and Ruelco unit, with reserve provided through the adjacent accumulator skid. Each accumulator is supplied with an isolation valve and a control panel, providing access to operate the supply of hydraulic fluid as required. When requested to operate the 30-inch subsea valves, ensure proper communication is established between operations and dive boat. Before operating the SALM unit, verify the hydraulic storage tank is at an adequate level. Verify the accumulator pressure gauge is between 1800 and 2200 psig. Turn pump select switch to pump 1 or 2. Use the selector switch to place the selected pump to hand in order to increase pressure, or auto, which will automatically maintain pressure with the selected pump. Cycle pump for max system pressure, 2200 psi, before stroking the valve. Return the pump select switch to the off position. Open valve CC15 inside skid to send fluid to operator panel. During vessel discharging operations, offloading, the port valves for SPM 102 and 104 remain closed due to the absence of a check valve. If a vessel will be loading, both port and starboard valves are required to be open. While there are no vessels at port, port valves for SPM 102 and 104 are tagged in the closed position. Be familiar with the state of lockouts for this unit and determine which block and directional valves will need to be operated on the SALM unit to accomplish the task. Establish communication with the workboat to ensure the diver can properly identify valve status. The associated valves have the tags removed for simulation. During the simulation, we will attempt to close the port valve at SPM 104. Multiple valves will be used. SPM 104, B port directional valve. B port supply and return block valves, 1 and 2. B port main valves, 3 and 4. Let's review the steps. Switch the SPM 104 directional valve from off to close. This initiates the direction that the subsea valve will travel. Open the B-port supply and return block valves labeled 1 and 2. Ensure totalizers are reset. Use the total reset switches if the values are not zeroed. Typically, the totalizers will zero once the block valves labeled 1 and 2 are opened. Open main port return valve 3, then slowly open main port supply valve 4. The supply totalizer should start counting gallons per minute once main supply valve 4 is opened. Document how long it takes for flow to stop. The return totalizer should be near 2.9 gallons per full valve stroke. Time averages can be between 7 to 8 minutes. Now, let's go through it again, all together. Once valve operation has been completed, pressure can be equalized in the hoses by closing either the main supply or return valves and moving the directional valve from close to open position. Close main port supply and return valves. Close B port supply and return block valves labeled 1 and 2. Turn the SPM port directional valve B to the off position. Operate additional valves by repeating the previous steps. Pay close attention to the valves required to operate the sub-C valves, and note the position of the directional valve will determine which way the valve will travel. When finished operating the sub-C valves, close valve CC15 inside the skid to block fluid from the operator panel. Return selected pump switch to off after pressure has recovered between 1700 and 2200 psig in order to prevent the pumps from unintentionally running. Leave the pump select switch for either pump 1 or pump 2 to conserve meter battery power. This concludes the video. Be sure to document and record the event to the appropriate logs.